ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। I will just read from 11th shloka. श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश भाषसे गतासु न गतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः. The blessed Lord said, you have grieved for those that should not be grieved for, yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्. It is not that at any time in the past indeed was I not, nor were you, nor these rulers of men, not verily shall we ever cease to be hereafter. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः तत्र धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. Just as in this body the embodied soul passes into childhood, youth, and old age, so also does he pass into another body. The firm man does not grieve at it. Matra sparshastu kaunteya शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत. The contacts of senses with objects, O son of Kunti, which cause heat and cold, pleasure and pain, have a beginning and an end. They are impermanent. Endure them bravely, O descendant of Bharata. Yam hi na vyathayante te purusham purusharshapha samadukha sukham dhiram somrutattvaya kalpate. That firm man whom surely these afflict not, O chief among men, to whom pleasure and pain are the same, is fit for realizing the immortality of the self. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drashtuntan, उभयोरपि द्रष्टुन्तस्त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः.
For the unreal, mithya, there is never any being. For the real, there is never any non-being. The ultimate truth of both of these is seen by the knowers of the truth. So here Swamiji had beautifully explained the Sat and Asat, and as Sat is the Adhisthana for everything, even for Asat, it is the Adhisthana, and very beautifully Chandogya Upanishad explanation was also read by Savitaji. Savitaji, if you are there, could you guide me? Which did you complete this shloka? Oh, she's not there. Okay, no problem. I will just read as per my. I'll quickly browse through the text.
I think this shloka was.
Yeah. The shloka is sure, but did she complete this shloka? No. I think it was.
I think mostly. Last paragraph left, I think.
Yeah, okay. Dhanyavad, Sureshji. Kindly forgive me if it is a repetition. I will quickly browse through the text. Asat means something that does not exist independently, and Sat is what exists independent of anything else. What is it that exists independently? Cold and heat, for example, do not exist independently because they depend upon a number of factors. There is no absolute cold existing by itself. That something is cold depends upon something else. The temperature cannot reveal itself to you by itself unless you have a perception. Therefore, your perception is essential in order to understand that something is cold and something else is hot. When you say this is a pot, does the word pot reveal an object that exists by itself, or does the object indicated by the word pot depend for its existence upon something else? If it depends on something else, clay, because of which the pot is there and unto which it will go back, that clay becomes the cause, karana, for the pot. The word pot has no real object outside of the world itself. It has no existence apart from the clay. That which has a cause, that which depends upon something for its existence, that which does not independently exist is called asat. There is a footmark. This is the Chandogya Upanishad, which I think Savitaji had read yesterday. This explanation is from the Chandogya Upanishad, where in one particular sentence it is said that before this creation, there was only one thing.
चलो we'll do a short meditation. हाँ सब लोग आराम.
Sorry. This explanation is from the Chandogya Upanishad, where in one particular sentence it is said that before this creation there was only one thing, the Satvastu, which was non-dual, one without a second, undifferentiated. Nothing else was there. From that Satvastu alone, called Brahman, everything has come and is non-separate from it. Nothing exists apart from Sat. This knowledge was revealed in this Upanishad to Shvetketu, who had been sent by his father to a Gurukula at the age of 12. He returned at the age of 24, very proud of his accomplishments, having studied the Vedas for 12 years. Shvetketu's father was a great man. He could not stand his son's arrogance. So he asked his son, "Did you ask your teacher for that knowledge, gaining which everything is known?" The boy replied that he did not think his teacher knew this. Later he asked his father if there was such a knowledge, and he said, "How can you know one thing and thereby know everything else? If there is such a knowledge, please teach me, O Lord." The same topic is discussed in the Mundaka Upanishad. The only difference being that there the student asks this question to the teacher, whereas in Chandogya Upanishad, the father asked Shvetketu, who said he did not know. Then Shvetketu asked his father to teach him. Shankara explains Asat further. When we try to prove the existence of things that are dependent upon causes for their existence, such as cold and heat or any given object, we find there is no self existent thing at all among the objects of the world. Why? Because what is there is only a form, vikara, that keeps changing. Vyabhicharati. It is never the same, nor can it be the same. Shankara goes on to prove a point here. Suppose all pots are made of clay, but you have knowledge of only one pot. You know it is clay. If you know Satya, the truth, the cause, Karana of all pots to be non dual clay, regardless of what form any or all pots assume, you know that they are nothing but this one clay. By knowing that one clay, you know all pots in the sense that they are not separate from the clay. Although this is a general knowledge, Samanya Jnana of all pots as clay, and not the particular knowledge, Vishesha Jnana of individual pots, it is knowledge of the whole. Then what is a pot? It is purely a name for a form. Other than this, there is no pot that exists separate from clay, nor is the clay the pot. If it were, again you would not need to make the pot, the clay being there already. Therefore, the clay is not the pot. If you remove the clay, where is the pot? Is it anywhere? Is it something that you have to search for? No. All that is there for the name pot is a form recognized as such. Anything that is time bound, like a pot, will change, and you cannot stop it because its nature is to keep on changing. When and how are you going to stop it? Therefore, what are you crying for? What are you sad for? Are you sad for something eternal because it is eternal? No. Sat is that which never changes. It has no existence, abhava, at all. Sat is never negated at any time, whereas Asat never enjoys a being of its own. Therefore, Sat cannot create any sorrow for you, and Asat is incapable of doing so because it does not exist in its own right. How can Asat create sorrow? In the vision of the Veda, you are the Sat, and everything else is Asat. Asat cannot be a source of sorrow to Sat, and Sat cannot be a source of sorrow to you because it is you. The whole problem is one of confusion between Sat and Asat between Atma and Anatma. Asat has no being, no power. It has no existence. Thus, it cannot be bhava. That which exists in all three periods of time. A thing that exists is bhava, and abhava is a thing that does not exist. The word bhava comes from the root bhu, used in the sense of existence. Very beautifully explained. The difference between Sat, which is always there, it doesn't require any Adhisthana because it is the Adhisthana. It is that isness. And Asat requires that Adhisthana. Like in the rope, when you see the snake, the rope is the Adhisthana. So the problem is the confusion, our cognitive confusion, that is the vichara, that we see the permanence of things in impermanence. Whether it is joy or pain or sadness, whatever it is. So when there is that viveka, when we know that what is atma, anatma, then that confusion is removed. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And if somebody can explain better, kindly. So next is analysis of existence and non-existence. Tuchha is another word for abhava and refers to a certain combinations that do not exist at all. For example, man's horn, Manushya Shringa, does not exist. Horn exists and man exists. Both are bhava, both exist. For these words, these are objects in the world which I know exist. But when I combine the two as man's horn, there is no such thing. Does the word asat in the verse mean tuchha, non existent? No, because it is unnecessary to say that something that is non existent has no being. In some modern commentaries on the Gita, however, we do find asat being translated as and equated to non existent. What purpose is served by this sentence? The non existent, such as the man's horn, has no existence. No purpose is served by this sentence. That which we refer to as asat has an order of reality which is neither satya, bhava, nor tuchha. There is another type of abhava between these two, a non existence that we call asat here. For instance, we cannot dismiss the sense organs and sense objects as totally non existent, tuchha. Are they then sat? Let us analyze them. A sense organ cannot be called a sense organ unless it perceives something. Eyes are a sense organ only because they see a form. Ears are a sense organ because they hear a sound. And the senses of smell, taste, and touch are all called sense organs because they contact their sense objects. How can you call eyes a sense organ if they do not see? If ears do not hear, there is no sense organ, even though the ear lobes may be used for earrings or for catching hold of someone. The earlobes, etc., are just the anatomical aspects of the sense called hearing. It is hearing that makes the ears a sense organ, and there is no such thing as sound without the ears, which establishes what? To establish the existence of one, we need to establish the existence of the other. When establishing the existence of either one, which depends on establishing the existence of the other, there must be some other basis for the existence of both. Thus, all of them depend on something that is self existent called Sat. Because we cannot dismiss the sense organs and their sense objects as non existent, we say they are asat. They are not totally non existence. Kshamyatam, they are not totally non existent. That is atyanta abhava. The sense organs and the sense objects do exist. All the responses of pleasure and pain, sukha and dukkha, exist. You cannot dismiss them as non existent, nor can you take them as independently existent. Therefore, for something that cannot be dismissed as non existent, tuchha, and cannot be taken as independently existent, sat, we have to have a word, and that word is asat. Another word for asat is mithya. Asat or mithya is that which has no bhava, that which depends upon sat. Only when there is Sat is a Asat possible. Therefore, Mithya or Asat is something whose existence depends upon another thing. And because it has no independent existence, it is not separate from that upon which it depends. I think till here it was completed by Dr. Savita, right? Okay, so I will read further. If there is anything to be shared, kindly stop me. So, when we say the suffering, pain, it is there. We cannot say that they are not there. Physical pain, you do feel when you put your finger in the fire. You do feel pain. But that is, it requires some adhisthana, something. So, Sat is the adhisthana. But finally, it is said that it is mithya.
Because it depends on something, right? That
Yes.
touch you have, your finger or whatever, but if it touches this fire, to feel that there something is there, like that's a sat. So it has to depend on the other thing.
Hmm. It
The
requires
same
some
thing.
substrate.
Yeah, then the same with the eyes also. The eyes only can see it, see the object, and the but it cannot do the other function, right? So it only does that. That's also kind of explained in the earlier paragraph you read.
Yeah.
It's going a little bit out of focus when you're reading, so I couldn't follow that paragraph. But what
Yeah,
you?
this was all done by Dr. Savita yesterday. That's why I quickly browsed through.
Oh, okay, all
You
right.
want me to repeat?
No, that paragraph when you're reading and it was going out of focus. The letters I couldn't follow what being read.
Uh,
That the to establish the existence of the one, that paragraph.
okay, I will read quick once again.
Yeah.
From
Yes.
there, yeah. To establish the existence of one, we need to establish the existence of the other. When establishing the existence of either one, which depends on establishing the existence of the other, there must be some other basis for the existence of both. Thus, all of them depend on something that is self existent called Sat. Because we cannot dismiss the sense organs and their sense objects as non existent, we say they are asat. They are not totally non existent, that is atyanta abhava. The sense organs and the sense objects do exist. All the responses of pleasure and pain, sukha and dukkha, exist. You cannot dismiss them as non existent, nor can you take them as independently existent. Therefore, for something that cannot be dismissed as non existent, tuchha, and cannot be taken as independently existent, sat, we have to have a word, and that word is asat. Another word for asat is mithya. Asat or mithya is that which has no bhava, that which depends upon sat. Only when there is sat is asat possible. Therefore, mithya or asat is something whose existence depends upon another thing, and because it has no independent existence, it is not separate from that upon which it depends.
Yeah, got it. Balaji. Thank you for reading it.
Yeah. Objects do not exist independently. When a pot is made, before it is baked, there is only clay. Thus, once upon a time, the pot was clay. When it became a pot, it was clay in the form of pot. Even though it has been fired, it is nothing but clay. All that has happened is that the clay now has an added attribute, guna, the pot form. This added attribute is what is meant by creation. Creative possibilities are there, but there is no such thing as a clay pot without clay. So, this is the essence of the whole. Very beautiful. When we look at anything in this world, we always find that it is a form with a name depending on some other substantive vastu. A particular form, rupa, is called asat. It has the nature of its substantive, but in itself has no bhava. By the time you see an object, it has already changed. It is never the same in the next moment. It is like seeing a film projected on a white screen. It looks as though someone is standing there, but in fact, the frame is continuously changing. Similarly, the frame in one's mind keeps on changing exactly like the film. This is what makes it possible for us to see motion. Because what you have seen is already gone and you do not see it again in the same form, an object has no real bhava. In a flowing river, you do not get the same water at the same place. It is over, gone, flowing constantly in the flow of time. Similarly, any perception we have is conditioned by time and therefore has the nature of being merely an appearance. It is as though there and not really there because it is always changing. It is as though all the time. All objects in the world are time bound. When you see an object, that object is not seen by you as an independent object. You always see some other thing along with it. When you see a shirt, for example, you also see cloth, and when you see the cloth, you see a particular material. Thus, you find that the shirt has no existence apart from its cause, karana, the cloth. Not only can you not create a shirt without cloth, you cannot imagine one either. Cloth here refers to any material with which the shirt is made. Without cloth, paper, or some other material, it is impossible to make a shirt even in your imagination. You can imagine an elephant entering your ear by seeing yourself as very big, but you cannot imagine making a shirt without cloth. No object exists by itself apart from its cause. I think even this was read yesterday by Savita ji. An object
Bela,
that does,
Jai Gurudev.
yeah,
Sorry. There was one sentence, I think 2 paragraphs before or so, talking about creation, and this is what creation is.
yeah.
Do you mind just going
I,
back there and
yeah,
reading
yeah,
those
yeah,
two? Yeah.
yeah. I will read from the beginning. Objects do not exist independently. When a pot is made before it is baked, there is only clay. Thus, once upon a time, the pot was clay. When it became a pot, it was clay in the form of pot. Even though it has been fired, it is nothing but clay. All that has happened is that the clay now has an added attribute, guna, the pot form. This added attribute is what is meant by creation. Creative possibilities are there, but there is no such thing as a clay pot without clay. When we look at anything in this world, we always find that it is a form with a name depending on some other substantive vastu. A particular form, rupa, is called asat. It has the nature of its substantive, but in itself has no bhava. By the time you see an object, it has already changed. It is never the same in the next moment. It is like seeing a film projected on a white screen. It looks as though Someone is standing there, but in fact, the frame is continuously changing. Similarly, the frame in one's mind keeps on changing exactly like the film. This is what makes it possible for us to see motion. Because what you have seen is already gone and you do not see it again in the same form, an object has no real bhava. In a flowing river, you do not get the same water at the same place. It is over, gone, flowing constantly in the flow of time. Similarly, any perception we have is conditioned by time and therefore has the nature of being merely an appearance. It is as though there and not really there because it is always changing. It is as though all the time. All objects in the world are time bound. When you see an object, that object is not seen by you as an independent object. You always see some other thing along with it. When you see a shirt, for example, you also see cloth, and when you see the cloth, you see a particular material. Thus, you find that the shirt has no existence apart from its cause, Karana, the cloth. Not only can you not create a shirt without cloth, you cannot imagine one either. Cloth here refers to any material with which the shirt is made. Without cloth, paper, or some other material, it is impossible to make a shirt, even in your imagination. You can imagine an elephant entering your ear by seeing yourself as very big, but you cannot imagine making a shirt without cloth. No object exists by itself apart from its cause. I will just complete this paragraph and then we can have the discussion. An object that does not exist independent of something else cannot have the word Sat imputed to it. It can only be called a Sat because Sat will be the one upon which the object depends for its bhava. If I remove the cloth, can you wear the shirt? All you will have is the emperor's clothes. There is no such thing as shirt without the material with which it is made. For the word shirt, there is no corresponding object at all. Bhava means it must independently exist. And because the cloth is the bhava, the shirt has no independent substantive status. Nor can you say the cloth which the shirt is made is sat, because it too depends on upon something else. Then what is the real sat? That which exists by its own glory and does not depend upon anything else for its existence is called Sat or Satya. Just because something is a cause does not mean it is Satya. Causes themselves depend on their causes and therefore are also asat. So my little understanding, I whatever takes the guna and form, they are all asat. They definitely have the basis the Adhisthana, which is Sat, which does not require any further existence. It stands in its own glory on its own. So the Atma is the only Sat on the basis of which all the names and forms are there, Nama Rupa. So kindly explain. I think Brahmaraji can explain or somebody else, please. So the Nama Rupa are also as though they are there. And because it keeps on changing all the time, it
You
reminds us.
take the pot example where the clay becomes the
Adhisthana. That is the,
basis. Yeah,
yeah,
but even
basis.
the clay, where does it come from? It has to come from somewhere, right? I mean, it doesn't exist by itself.
That's what is here Swamiji wants to say. No, it
Yeah,
doesn't require any cause or any source. It is on its own.
yeah. So that way, if we look at this cloth, also it has to come from the shirt comes from the cloth, and the cloth comes from the fiber. That fiber comes from some cotton that grows from the tree. Then you go back again to the sink. So who put
Yeah,
the seed there? And you know, you keep on going there. And one person there. So finally, it go to the creator. Well, that's what that comes down to. Then who is the creator here? Then that's where it comes down to the Sat, that he so it's all depending on one on top of the other like that. So even
yeah.
take you or me, like, did we come by ourselves? Like, no, right? It came
Mhm.
from, you had a father and mother, and then how did the father and mother come, and then their father and mother? That's how it keep on going and going and going. And but so everything that exists has that mula means that where it came from. It came from that one thing, Sat, which doesn't depend on anything.
Hmm.
And that
But
doesn't
here,
have yeah, that exists. And
hmm.
whereas this thing about Asat, you can't, in a way it's not exist, but you can't say it non-existent either, because it exists for a while, and then it goes away after a while, after some time, because of that guna. uh, that part breaks and goes back to clay, or the shirt, after some time it wears off and it goes down. And the same thing, everything you take, that's where this become this mithya. Their name is mithya. Mithya meaning, you can't say it's not absolutely not real, but then it's relatively real, kind of. It's there, but
Yeah,
then for time being, and then the time goes away.
yeah. That's why the beautiful word as though.
Mm. As though it's there forever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, even on a daily basis, the world appears as though created and it dissolves. When we look at our sleep cycle, In deep sleep, the world is completely non-existent to us. Only upon waking up again, everything starts as though manifesting. For a person who's in deep sleep, the world is non-existent. When you compare him to the waking state, but what is there throughout is that I, that witness, the one who is witnessing both all the states, waking, dream, sleep, deep sleep, all of that, that the one person that remains unchanged, the one that Sat Vastu that remains unchanged throughout all the different states. That is the Adhishtana, that is the Karana Karanaya. He is it is the cause of all the causes. So right now, Dr. Mara was asking about clay also has to have a cause. It can't just appear. So the cause of clay, the cause of the cloth, the cause of the cotton, which is the cause of the shirt. When you tease it down, any of these, when you tease it down, it comes down to particles, wavelengths, and energy, vibration. So that is the basis of all of this. This is, or love, whatever you call it. You're all made up of that energy or vibrations or love. It is only the as though distorted forms of that have a temporary image, nama and rupa, which again are time bound. Anything which is time bound is subject to change.
That
But
other
anything,
state also, Dr. Brahma, what is it called? Siti, Laya, Pralaya, or what was that one?
which one?
You know how uh, the creation, no, Siti, like
Ah, it is
Pralaya.
it is Srishti,
Oh,
Sthiti, and Laya.
right, right, right. Okay.
This is
So
a
those
flux, it continues.
continues.
Srishti,
Yeah,
Sthiti, and Laya.
yeah,
Srishti is that is created. And then
right.
Sthiti is it remains as though for some time. And
Mm-hmm.
Laya it dissolves.
Right. Siti,
Same thing, we look at if you can
all the cells
bring
in
this
our
down
body.
to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to different parts of our existence. Like example, take a thought.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
thought of say some object, it is not there right now. But then when the moment I think about that object, it is as though created. And that thought remains for some time and it dissolves. So all of these are time bound, they're fleeting, and they're in a constant flux. So this Atma Anatma Viveka comes in here when you know what Anatma is. All that is time bound, all that is fleeting, all that is in a flux, all that has a birth as though existent and death. Aviveka is putting all our attention on making that real, thinking that is constant, thinking that is what is. Whereas Viveka is stepping aside and rooting yourself in the Atma Tattva, in that self which is unchanging. And then looking at all of this that is changing as as a play, as a drama, as a dream. In fact, I just want to read today's knowledge that I came across. It's very relevant to what we're reading right now. I'll just read this one. Just give me a second. Yeah, staying connected to our inner self through spiritual practices helps us to remain stable even in the midst of chaos. Conflict is a natural part of life, and staying connected and centered, even in turbulent times, is what is essential. Inner stability in turbulent times. So this turbulence, as though turbulence is it's constantly happening in the pairs of opposites, the moment the sense organs contact the sense objects. Turbulence is the pairs of opposites showing up, either pleasant or unpleasant. And when we have a mind, when we have an intellect and ego, conflict is but natural. Disagreements are natural. You cannot be in a constant state of agreement with everybody all the time, except when everyone is on the same page. Everyone is connected to the inner stability that we are. Like all the jnanis are. They all have the same perception of the world. For them, the world that they are awake to the aspect of the world that we are asleep to. And they are asleep to the world that we are awake to. So it's just a slight shift in our perception, backed up by this knowledge.
When he said the wise awake when everybody's sleeping, I remember that one verse we read. Hmm. Can you explain that one more time? I know it's kind of
Yeah, it's a verse that comes in later in the second
or
chapter.
later in the chapter. Okay,
Yeah.
we did read
So
about that. Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So the person is awake during the everybody's sleeping. They're awake meaning. Uh, okay, I see what he's saying. Okay, the world is a mithya. So, so everybody's awake. Then this person is sleeping because it doesn't matter to them.
Correct. He's
Yeah,
asleep to it.
yeah,
For
he's
him, it
sleeping.
doesn't exist. Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Okay, got it. Mm. Yeah, like the very how much is the inner strength is matters for us to remain calm and handle all the things. Instead of that, we go all the time outside to look for that
Yeah,
stability.
and making fuss of small things.
Yeah, I that is what we have to put our time and effort into. Of course, the body health is also important, but then this one is more important. The world will be very peaceful place if everybody is like that.
Yeah, but this is the dilemma, no? Like the moment you get up, you
Mm.
can dedicate some period of time for all these practices. But then the demand of the Deha Bhav is so predominant. And behind that Deha Bhav, to fulfill all those things, that Jeev Bhav also becomes more
No, that's
strengthened.
there, but
So
the
that is a
underlying.
very tricky and skillful thing to remain
Navigate.
sleepy for all these Deha Bhav and Jeev Bhav and be awakened all the time in the Atma Bhav. It is really like only we can discuss it. I don't know when and which lifetime it will become the reality for all of us. Jai
But
Gurudev.
the more and more you are aware,
Yeah.
awareness is the key. The more you are aware, and with this, how do you develop this awareness, nurture the awareness is through spiritual practices.
Yeah, not
Being
only
in the
that,
moment,
the
no?
more knowledge also that we have,
Mm.
right? I mean, what to give importance to, what you not to give importance also
Correct.
matters, right? Like in that sense, that way you can let go of things that bothers you. Okay,
That's
thinking,
true.
okay, this is not going to be. You don't sweat on this, rather than
Mm,
partly that, and also the spiritual practice kind of connects
mm.
us with that one thing. Um, I know it's our time is getting
That time
closer.
is up, yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, all those pillars of knowledge are what help us remain. Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shat Sampatti, and Mumukshutva. All these practices, what we're doing, meditation and yoga and kriya and all these four pillars of knowledge are what help us remain aware, remain in the moment.
yeah. The
Remaining in the
late,
moment, we're not getting caught up in in the deha bhav or jiva bhav. You're in the moment.
right.
Yeah.
All these times we've been with this discussion came many times, but it's still lingering conflict in my head. Like because we worship Narayana versus Namah Shivaya. What do I do in terms of that mantra japa? And then the conflict was going on for a while now. But finally I feel whether you say this name or the other name, it all goes to that one Paramatma only. It's one person, but they have many forms. That we understand that part, then it doesn't matter, which Nama you say, and still it will go to him. That's finally I kind of come to that. I mean, that's probably what you think, what is true, but anyway.
Yeah, very beautiful. I just uh, tell a short, very small story, which is I just it reminded me. In a emperor's court, there was one king, and he invited all the artists, and he said that you capture my picture, and I want to see how I look. And every artist, when he came, he used to pause, and then he used to say that okay, no, this is not what I was. He will either sit, and then he after the artist used to finish the picture, he will say, no, I was not, I'm not sitting now, I'm standing now, where am I? And he used to punish them, all the artists. So there was a wise man, so he suggested one artist to frame a mirror and to show the king. And then, so the mirror, in the mirror, the king was shown as it is. So it is like when you are, it's a tricky thing. Like in mirror, you are able to see as it is. When the things are, I mean, they keep on changing, you cannot capture that one particular thing, and you cannot say that this is what I am right now. I hope you understand, all of you. This was just a story which I read for my Balvihar kids. Okay. Uh, may I
Yeah, very
stop now?
profound story. Yeah, you can stop. Very nice.
Yeah. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु
आराम से बैठ जाइए. Everyone sit comfortably, easily. रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधा रखें. Let's keep our spine erect. Let's take our attention to the top of the head. And become aware of the vast sky above the head. सिर के ऊपर विशाल गगन है. उस गगन से तरंग हमारे सिर पर पड़ रही है इस वक्त. इसका स्मरण करें. Become aware of the vast space and cosmic rays from the universe falling on your head right this moment. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते सारे तरंगों को अपने भीतर स्वीकार करें. With a smile, receive all the vibrations, cosmic vibrations, into your body. Vedic chantings are there, are happening. All other sounds are there. Just welcome them all. मंत्र घोष भी चल रहे कहीं दूर. पूरे वातावरण में पवित्र तरंग उठ रहे हैं. इन सब को आप स्वीकार करें अपने भीतर. Let's also chant Om. हम भी 3 बार ओंकार का ध्वनि करते हैं. गहरी सांस लीजिए. रिलैक्स योर होल बॉडी. पूरे शरीर को ढीला छोड़ दें. लेट एवरी सेल इन आवर बॉडी स्टार्ट टू रिलैक्स, एक्सपैंड एंड स्माइल. ओम शांति शांति शांति। और धीरे धीरे आंखें खोल सकते हो। Slowly and gradually you may open your eyes.